We're at Meridian Valley Country Club in Kent, where they are getting ready for the Washington Open. It's a tournament that's been on since 1922, has been here for the past several years. And not only is it a good event for the PGA Northwest sector, but also raises money for the organization Folds of Honor, which raises money for families of military veterans who lost their lives in the line of duty, and gives scholarships to the kids that they leave behind. And this is Ryan Benzel. He is not only a PGA pro, home course at Sahalee, where he is the director of instruction, but he is the 2018 champion, so the guy everybody's gunning for here at the Washington Open. Talk about that a little bit. Now, so you're in that position where everybody wants to make sure you are knocked off. Does that change your game at all?
That's true. Doesn't really change my game all that much. This is a new year, but I think what it does is it gives me the confidence and the understanding that I can play this golf course. I can play well. I can win on this golf course. I'm sure everybody that's going to play doesn't want to see me win 2 years in a row, so they're going to work hard to make sure that doesn't happen. But I'll do my best to see if I can make it happen.
So what's the trick with this course?
This golf course, I think, is very dependent on how the conditions are. So if it gets soft, it can play a little longer, but it also makes it very, very, I wouldn't say easy, but it makes it simpler to hit shots into the greens. These greens have a lot of slope, a lot of mounds on the sides, and you can put the flags in some of the in some really tricky spots. So if it is nice and dry and warm and firm, like we've had the last 2 years, that helps my game a little bit. There's a little more strategy involved. You've got to think through your shots and kind of the placement of where you want your ball to hopefully be after you hit it. So that's a strength of my game, and so I'm hoping it's just as hard again this year.
Well, in mid to late May, it could go either way, right? We could get some late spring storms and get a little mushy, or well, I don't want to say hard because it's in great shape, but firm is probably the better way to describe it.
That's true. I'm hoping the rainy April that we've had leads to a nice May. Sometimes we've had it reverse. We get a great April, and we're all thinking great stuff, and then May isn't too good. So, I hope the showers have passed us, and we just keep getting sunshine.
So talk a little bit about the tournament's place in terms of PGA Pacific Northwest.
The tournament is one of our 5 majors, so in the Pacific Northwest section, and those 5 majors, they don't connect in anything. Sometimes I get asked by winning, did that qualify me for anything? And these are events that we have are just local within our Pacific Northwest section: Washington, Oregon, all of Alaska, northern Idaho, western Montana. So they're mostly club professionals from, your local professional around the area. Some amateurs are playing in these events as well. But it's some good golf, for sure. There's a lot of good players, a lot of good club professionals that compete, in these events, primarily through May through September. And
as a major, of course, a big deal as part of the Pacific Northwest section calendar.
Absolutely, yeah. There's, being a 3-day championship, it's just as important to me as other events that we play in, or if I'm fortunate enough to get on a plane and go play in some big events, these are right up there with those. The competition is very good. Club professionals around the country and other PGA professionals that I know understand that Pacific Northwest has very good players and very good competition. So 3-day majors in our section, the 5 that we have, they can be pretty rare if you look around the country in comparison to other PGA sections. And so we're very fortunate to be in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, now I have to ask what the biggest event is you've been able to play in.
The biggest event I've played in is spectator events, probably the PGA Championship. I've qualified for that 4 times. So that's a kind of a series of events. Starts in our local section. I qualify for a national championship and then into the PGA Championship. So that's the biggest event that I've played in, where there's people would recognize and realize. I've been twice a PGA Cup member, which is the Ryder Cup for PGA Club professionals. So 10 from America and 10 from Great Britain and Ireland played in Ryder Cup matches, exactly the same formats. Everything's the same. It's just the opposite years of Ryder Cups. So I played once in the United States and once in Scotland.
Wow. So of the 4 PGA championships you played in, which was your favorite course?
Probably the favorite course was Southern Hills in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I played the best there. I made the cut, which is a big accomplishment for the club professionals that are playing in that each year. But I've played some fantastic golf courses: Oakland Hills in Detroit, Hazeltine in Minnesota that held the Ryder Cup a couple years ago, and Whistling Straits. So I've played some very good golf courses, and they were a heck of a lot of fun. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, the other big part of this event is that it raises money for Folds of Honor. What does it mean to you to be able to, to get out there and raise money for these military families who've lost someone?
Yeah, the pro-am in the weekend prior to the championship, some might actually be even bigger than the championship itself. It's certainly more important in the grand scheme of things of what we do. It was mentioned in our conference earlier this morning, but the Saturday night dinner and corresponding auction is just incredible. The amount of money that gets raised, the stories you hear, it's kind of mind-blowing what happens to people at times in their lives. And anytime you start hearing about families that have lost a parent, you start thinking about your own children, and you wouldn't imagine going through that. And so through the Folds of Honor, these kids get to go maintain their education, get a higher education, and have as minimal impact on their future as possible. And so it's a fantastic organization, and I think really the sky's the limit on what we could do. I mean, we're for 2 days here at Meridian Valley. It could be 2 days at Meridian Valley, and the same 2 days we're playing at 2 or 3 other clubs because the field is just that big and the support is that big. It can grow. We want it to grow. It would be awesome if we were growing so much that we had to go elsewhere from Meridian Valley on that same weekend. So I think the sky's the limit for that event, and the money we can raise we can do lots.
Well, the effort so far has been really terrific, and I certainly appreciate you taking a few minutes. Ryan Benzel, we'll see you at Sahali, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right, very good. And this is Greg Manley. He is the GM here at Meridian Valley. So you're a guy that is really in touch and close with Folds of Honor. Talk a little bit about that organization and what they do.
Well, myself as a PGA professional, Folds of Honor was founded by a PGA professional, Major Dan Rooney. Their goal is to educate the legacy, honor the sacrifice of those killed or disabled in the line of duty. And so they support military families who've lost either mom or dad through educational scholarships. And Patriot Golf Day, you may have heard about that, is one of their major fundraisers. We raised $90,000 here at the Washington Open Program last year, so that has a big impact on what they do as well. It's easy to get behind this charity because it's just the right thing to do. These people are out there putting their lives on the line every day for us. I work at this beautiful facility, which is a golf course, and to help those people who need it, it's an honor for us to do that.
Yeah, talk a little bit about what it means to the families.
Well, we just heard from Ginger Ravella. She had 5 kids under the age of 9 and lost her husband in the line of duty. And so you can imagine the pressure and the stress that's put on mom when that happens. And to have the Folds of Honor step in and provide educational scholarships so she can take those kids to the right schools and get that support is critical to exist in their life and move forward and become better citizens. And it's the ultimate.
Yeah, I think that's something people don't think about. I mean, the kids were all little in their case, when they lost their dad, but they grow up and they need lives, and they don't have a dad that's then supported them all the way through. Mom has to think about all the way to college.
And that financial support for the children isn't there from our government either. That's not a political statement. It's just not there. It doesn't exist. So certainly the spouse is supported from the government, but the children and their schooling and their education is not. And so that's where that Folds of Honor fills that void for sure.
So let's talk about this beautiful golf course a little bit.
Yeah.
The guys talked about it already, but you're the boss here. Where are the tough spots for you?
Well, they highlighted 5 and 15, certainly 2 hard golf holes. You got to drive it straight. You got to hit it on small greens with longer to mid irons. So I will echo what they said. there's no kickovers out here at Burning Valley. You have to drive in the fairway, then you have to hit a good second shot to give yourself a chance. The par 5, certainly you can get it a couple of those, but this is a good tournament golf course. So you have to be on your top game to play well.
What's it take to get it in the kind of shape needed for a PGA event?
If you asked our superintendent that, he would say a lot of luck from Mother Nature, but really it takes a lot of experience. He's been here for over 30 years, and how he manages verification and how we come out of verification at the end of March. We're only 45 days away from our verification, and this place is perfect. So I'm not qualified enough to tell you exactly the agronomist part of it, but yeah, it just takes time and experience for sure.
All right, Greg, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I recognize this lady. This is Kent Mayor Dana Ralph. Mayor, what does it mean to you to have this tournament here in Kent?
It's so important. I love the fact that we get to showcase our city, showcase the beautiful Meridian Valley Country Club, and then also help support a really meaningful organization in Folds of Honor. So overall, it's a fantastic thing.
Okay, now you admitted during the press conference that you're not, you don't have much knowledge of golf. Does that mean you don't play?
I don't play. My one shot was I went down to the driving range, and halfway through somebody told me I was using the club backwards. I'm left-handed. Did not realize the difference, so that is me telling my one and only golf story.
Well, the golf gods will give you a break at some point, I'm sure. So now you mentioned what it means to you to have Folds of Honor as a part of this. Tell me a little about that.
Yeah, so the ability, the Folds of Honor organization supports families, kids in their educational endeavors who have lost a parent or had a parent disabled in the line of duty serving our country. And to me, there is nothing more important than taking care of those families, those kids, and making sure that they know that the rest of us value and support and honor the sacrifice that their parents have made. So this feels like a fabulous way to do that.
Well, and the military is such a huge part of this area, and I imagine Kent's included.
It is. Right? We have on our police force, we have a number of veterans in this community, and we're very close to the base. So it is. Military is a huge part of our community.
Now, off topic here, but last time we spoke was at the grand opening of the new Dick's here in Kent, the first South End Dick's. And we're worried that we might lose that. Where do we stand there?
Okay, so yeah, we're worried as well. Right now we are in the end stretch. May 23rd, the Sound Transit Board will make what I believe will be the right decision and take that piece of property off the list of consideration for operation and maintenance facilities. So we are doing everything we can behind the scenes and up to that meeting, but we should have an answer. And like I said, I am convinced Sound Transit Board will do the right thing.
Well, and aren't there other viable options?
There are. There's a total of 6 projects that were put forward. So removing the one leaves 5 that would be possibilities.
Well, and it's not just the Dick's, but that whole shopping center does
the
huge
Lowe's,
business.
Right. So Lowe's is the only home improvement center between Tukwila and Federal Way. I've talked to contractors and homeowners and renters. That is the place they go to get everything they need to take care of the place that they live. So there's a coffee shop and a nail shop. It's a gathering place, and then bringing Dick's there just means the community's got a place to hang out. So it's really important to Kent that Sound Transit leave that spot alone.
Well, and I imagine some of those options include not upending several small and large businesses.
That's exactly. There's multiple businesses that provide jobs and resources to the community, and by that going on to that list and potentially being an operation and maintenance facility, it takes all that possibility away.
All right, Mayor Ralph, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Their legacy, their sacrifices, it's a huge day. So thank you very much for being here. I want to recognize a couple sponsors we have with us in the room. Ken Trout from Hempler's Sausage. They do a great job of supporting this event. Friday during the big demo day and practice round, they're out there grilling sausages and they're keeping people fed on the weekends too. So thank you for being here today. Hopefully you're going to play golf and enjoy the golf course. You betcha. And then Jim Redmond and his associates from Cisco, a huge partner of ours, also in the food industry, keeping us fed during the event. So thank you very much for being here as well. We're going to just do a quick little Q&A here. One of the highlights of today is I'm going to flip the tables on Aaron Levine and I'm going to ask him questions. I've been stewing over this for months too. So we're going to do that. We're lucky enough to have the mayor of Kent here. The city of Kent's a huge supporter, just from support and financial as well. So thank you for being here today. We'll have her come up. And we've got 3 past champions in addition to Ryan Benzel in the room, Brian Thornton, Darren Black, and Chris Griffin in the back. We'll have Muckleshoot. This is the 5th year of a 5-year agreement with Muckleshoot Casino. Jason Mattini is from Muckleshoot, a hugely pivotal person and relationship that we've built. We're about ready to sign another 50-year contract, right, Jason?
70,000 a year.
Muckleshoot's building convention centers and hotels, and they're in the long haul for the Washington for the next few years for sure. I'm going to make that promise today. Daryl Donovan's not here, but they're a huge supporter as well. Donovan Brothers Construction. In fact, Daryl gets 2 teams in the program with his sponsorship, and he donates the second one to the American Lake Veterans Golf Course. So he supports 4 veterans playing this program as well. And then this year he decided he and his wife Laura wanted to buy them all new tailor-made drivers. So we had all the military vets up here last week, and out of his own pocket he bought 4 new tailor-made drivers for them. So super cool supporter of the event. And I've already mentioned the city of Canton. So we'll get started, and we're going to start with the first question with Jason. Muckleshoot's a huge supporter of Northwest Golf. You're a supporter of a few events. Washington, key part of that. Why is the Muckleshoot so involved in golf, and specifically this event?
Well, I think obviously golf and gaming goes hand in hand, and that's pretty much a sure thing there. And it's a amenity, and just something we can do as well for the guests off property. But overall, just the concept and the support of being involved in the golf community, and then obviously with Folds of Honor and worthy causes, it just aligns ourselves for only success going.
The tribe's hugely involved in the community, support a lot of different things. Tell us about the projects for the casino that are going on right now.
So, hitting on what Greg said, the Muckleshoot is very kind to the community. They definitely give back. They give back to all the right people, people that protect us, hospitals, children, education. And there is a lot of veterans that are tribal members. A lot of them have served for the country. So it's a worthy thing, and it's a beneficial thing to just give back to them and kind of put their money back to something they're endorsing and feel strongly about. On the note of construction, there's 3 phases currently going on right now at the Muckleshoot Casino. We're in phase 1, but I've been there for about 8 years, so it's actually very exciting news that 2 days ago they, in a press release, they did announce they're going to build a hotel finally. So from everything I've seen, it's very nice. It's 18 floors, 400 rooms, so that's pretty big property. And with that, tons of new gaming space, probably about 800 machines and about 40 more table games on top of the footprint we already have existing when the walls go down and stuff. So it's going to be very nice. It'll be exciting for the community, but moving forward with this program and this tournament, it can only get better having all those amenities now. So next 3 or 4 years should be really exciting.
Cool. Thanks again for your support.
Thank you, Rick.
Aaron Levine from Q13 Fox.
Not really worthy of being part of this band.
Pretty deep down. You probably could beat most of
Great
us.
legs.
I was a course player.
You do have nice legs. Q13 and Aaron Levine have been awesome supporters of this event, not only covering the championship and the Pro-Am, but also covering the Folds of Honor and highlighting some of the recipients of that charity. Being able to play in this event for, 4 years?
Yes.
You're going to miss this year,
I am.
unfortunately. But what does this event mean to you, and what does specifically Folds of Honor mean to you?
It means a lot. In fact, being a participant of this event for the last 4 years, you really get a perfect combination of having fun that weekend and also being able to recognize those who have sacrificed their lives to fight for the country. And we always talk about freedom isn't free, and that really comes up a lot throughout the weekend. And specifically, the keynote speaker, the night of the first night of the Pro-Am, there's not a dry eye in the room. From Lisa Hallett a couple years ago, speaking to Major Ed Polito, telling his story, the sacrifices that they've made for this country, and what Folds of Honor has been able to do for them and for so many different families across the country is a really special thing, and it's a great reminder of why we're able to take part in this event every single year.
Yeah, we appreciate that support very much. Brian Benzel, our 2018 champion. Brian and I are good friends, so he'll understand how this question got formed. But, your track record at the Washington Open hasn't been like a bunch of second-place finishes, and then you come out of nowhere last year and
dominate the field. What was the change? How did you figure out how to win at Burning Valley, and what's it mean to be the Washington Open champion?
Thank you. Well, I guess for last year, the change, there wasn't anything I really did any differently. I just hadn't put everything together leading into the tournament in some of the early rounds that we're playing around our area. I felt like I'd been playing well, but nothing had come together totally. So luckily it did for those 3 or 4 or 5 days. I played well in the Pro-Am, got to feel the golf course out a little bit, and then continued to play well during the tournament. I think I did figure out a little bit of the riddle that is Meridian Valley, or has been for me at times. I just tried to hit every golf shot I hit into the middle of every green. And I do well under conditions that are a little more challenging. In the last couple of years, we've played under very dry conditions, very firm conditions, which make players have to think a little bit, strategize a little better, which is a big key for my game. We've played many events here that it's been wet and soft and raining, and everybody can hit the golf ball wherever they want, and it stops, and no one has to think about it. And those would tend to be the events that I haven't particularly played very well in. But so once the golf course was presented as it was and nice and firm, I definitely felt like it benefited my game and my strategy. To be the Washington Open champion, your last question is, it's really great. It's my son said to me this morning as I was driving down, dropping him off at the bus and coming down here. He said, "Dad, you're the best player in Washington. You won the Washington Open last year." And I said, that's kind of nice to hear, but I responded with sometimes. Sometimes people beat me, and other times I can beat them. But yeah, to have my name on that trophy with a long list of our Pacific Northwest section professionals, some of my friends that are in the back, it feels really good. We gathered, actually the 4 of us that are here today gathered in January. We played a round of golf together with one of the local PGA Tour players, and we kind of had a little fun ragging on him a little bit because we got to tell him we were all Washington Open champions and he wasn't. So, but he quickly threw that back at us. But, so it's a really cool honor, and I'm proud to represent Sahalee, the Pacific Northwest section, and have my name on the championship.
Yeah, congratulations again. So the Pacific Northwest section of the PGA is 5 states. It's all of Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Northern Idaho, and Western Montana. 1,100 golf professionals, about 400 or 500 facilities, Jeff.
Yep.
Jeff Ellison is the CEO, and I failed to introduce Molly Cooper when I started, so that's 5 bogey. I've already made one today. Molly Cooper's our tournament director for the section, so she'll be the one setting up the pins and the hole locations and the tees, so that Benzel can win. If you just make it so I can plug it around there, Coop, I might have a chance. But, so Jeff, as the CEO of the section, I know personally that the Folds of Honor is a huge deal for you. And we created this event with Jason 5 years ago. We had no doubt Folds of Honor was going to be the recipient, right? It's just the right deal. Major Dan Rooney, who formed and founded the Folds of Honor, is a PGA professional as well. Tell us about Major Dan and the cause of the Folds and why the PGA and specifically our section is so involved.
Well, most of you know the story of the Folds, but Major Dan, I was there when he came and spoke to the PGA annual meeting the very first year that he started the Folds of Honor. And then, just as now, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. He was talking to 600 golf professionals at our annual meeting, telling the story of Brock Buckland, watching his casket go down the ramp off the airplane, and his 5-year-old son waiting for that casket down there on a dark, rainy night. So right then is when he started the Folds. And he went to a local Northwest connection, Brian Whitcomb. Many of you know that name. Brian Whitcomb is from Bend, Oregon, grew up in Prineville. He was the president of the PGA America at that time. And Dan called Brian to get the PGA involved. And Patriot Golf Day was the first funding mechanism for Folds of Honor. So PGA's been there since day one with the story and helping make it happen. So bringing the Folds into the Washington Open was automatic. we started pretty, I wouldn't say humble beginnings, but a nice level the first year. But we raised $90,000 out of this event last year for the Folds of Honor, which was a $30,000 increase over the year before. And that's all thanks to our sponsors. It's thanks to our players. It's thanks to a huge auction we do right after our speaker speaks on Saturday night. It's an online auction. You don't even have to be here to participate. Somebody back east bought the PGA Championship tickets last year, so it's getting out that we're raising a lot of dough for the Folds. We're going to go over 100,000 this year. The section, while this is our single biggest fundraiser, raised last year $284,000 through Patriot Golf Day, through some other events we do. We even do a Folds of Honor Scramble in Alaska, which is a blast. But we raised $284,000, and what that meant was 57 families got scholarships just from what our section did. So it's an easy cause to get behind. It's an easy story to tell. Ginger Ravalli is going to be our speaker this year. She's going to be here today. I have her video that I'm going to play. And as you listen to this, unfortunately, this story is all too common. It is a young wife, college sweetheart, 5 kids under 9, and suddenly her life is turned upside down because she lost her husband. So why don't we play? Hit the top one. It says play game. Molly, there's a mouse right there. There we go.
My dad just such an example of a life that I want to live. My dad was just a super loving person and always ready to care for anyone who needed it, whether you knew him or not.
He was just the type of friendly guy that everybody always wanted to be around, that he would always make you feel like you were so special. He's special because he was my dad.
It's a fascinating thing because they will just make an facial expression like, oh my gosh, that is their dad. Definitely their spirit, their personalities, their tenaciousness, they do not give up any of them in their leadership. I think that his natural born leadership has definitely been passed down to each of them.
Carrying the Gilbert name, hopefully I wear it, with the pride that it deserves and the honor that it deserves. I'm definitely really proud of the man that my dad was, and I'm happy to share the same name and carry it on. My mom was awesome. She's so strong, and I think that her character is a big testament to why I'm where I'm at today. But I think that she is just the embodiment of someone who's been through it all, and anyone who knows her would say the same. I think my mom was extremely brave. She could have given up at any point and just broken down, but she stuck through with it.
My mom was really special to me because she's kind of like not only my best friend, but I never had an older sister, so she's just always there for me.
I hope I make him proud. I think about that a lot with what I do with the kids and my job at Folds. I just want to make him proud. I want to see him again. Obviously, he did a great job after I left. That's what I want.
So not only the financial support that the Folds of Honor lends to these families, it's the emotional support. It's the knowledge of those 5 kids that sacrifice meant something to other people. And that, as much as anything, that's what Folds does for these families. And it's something PGA, all of us up here are very honored to be part of.
Yeah, the mission of the Folds is to support the children and families of those killed or disabled in the line of duty through educational scholarships. So that's what the money goes to do. 5 kids under 9 years old. I'm looking at my wife. Can you imagine? So it's an amazing cause, and Folds of Honor's kind of mission is to honor their sacrifice and educate their legacy is what they use a lot, as well as freedom is free. So Aaron touched on Lisa Hallett. He also touched on Major Ed. Both stories are amazing. And Ginger on Saturday night. Maybe we should do logo Kleenex boxes or something. Our sponsorship opportunity, because that's Saturday night is a tearjerker for sure. Anything else, Jeff?
If anybody wants Ginger's contact information, if you're doing a story and you want to get a hold of her, I've got it for you.
Yeah, we look forward to having her here. Next, I want to invite Mayor Dina Ralph to come up from the city of Kent. No, you're fine. I'm going to stand up with the mayor. Always stand up for mayor. So this event means a lot to the city of Kent. I think that you're here. It's an honor to have the mayor here. So tell us about why this event is important to the city of Kent.
Okay, so I will start with last year, Erin outed me in a tweet that said she doesn't know much about golf, but she knows why Folds of Honor and this event is important. So that's my starting point. You're absolutely right. I don't know any more about golf than I did last year. So we'll just start with the honesty. What this means is, it's a way for the city of Kent to showcase this amazing golf course and our amazing community. But even more, it's a way for us to help support Folds of Honor. The work that is done by this organization is unfortunately necessary, but so important. Over the last year, the city of Kent lost one of our police officers in the line of duty, small children. So we as a city have been through this, and I have watched how important it was for Officer Moreno's family to have the support of a community behind them and to know that people cared. And that's what Folds of Honor does for our military, right? It's important that those kids grow up, like we saw in that video, knowing that what their dad did, what their father sacrificed, means something to all of us, and that they've got that support system. And so for that, I am extremely grateful. This partnership is working. The amount of money that's being raised, $91,000 last year, is incredible, and I just can't help but think about the number of kids that will be able to allow their parents' legacy live on because of the work that is being done here.
Just a little bit about Murray Valley Country Club. We've been in this community for 53 years now and are proud and happy to be part of the city of Kent. So for the Board of Trustees and membership here to support this event and support the Folds of Honor, it's a huge key too. So I don't want to underestimate how much effort the club puts into it.
Meridian Valley Country Club is a gem in our city. I grew up in Kent, and it's been a part of my life since I was tiny. We have, obviously there's a lot of really great golfing that goes along here, but there's also a lot of great community building. Was up here last week for a fundraiser for Children's Hospital. So it's those kinds of things that Meridian Valley does for this community and the region, the broader region, that make it such a special part of the city of Kent.
Thank you. We're happy to be a part of it. Thank you for being here too.
Absolutely.
You're a busy lady, Mayor of Kent, and to take time to come up here is very important. So
This is very important, so thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for the mayor?
Let me off really easy.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it very
Thank
much.
you.
We'll now have the 3 past champions come on up. Lauren, do you have a speech prepared? Oh. 2013, 2015, excuse me, the head professional at Rainier Country Club just across the valley. Darren, what's your name? Chris Griffin? Wow. All right. Chris, what year did you win it? 13. Just so I don't mess this up. You're 13.
Yes, sir.
You also won it here at Rainier Valley, and Griff is a teaching professional at Griffin Golf down at Sumner, as well as some other places. Teaches Andres Gonzalez and Michael Putnam, both PGA Tour, Web.com Tour players. Brian Thornton, you won this win, 2009?
Year anniversary.
Or was it here?
This year.
Oh, you won it here as well?
The first year came back from Glendale.
You won it at your home course. Brian's our teaching professional here at Murray Valley and gets to play some golf. So do you guys have any statements you want to make, or should I just ask you questions, or let the esteemed group of media ask you questions?
Fire away.
Anybody have any questions for each of you guys? Or Ben, as the past champion?
Is it harder to win at your home course?
Yes? Oh.
There's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, I think there's a little hometown pressure with the membership, although they really support this thing. So, I might have 10, you have 10 or 15 that might tour around with you. That's different. It's weird because you want to be a selfish player, right? We know that when we play our best, you got to be selfish and you only play for yourself. And then you get members and you're kind of going, like everybody else in here, like, don't be a fool. Don't play like, so anyway, you got to just really put it off to the side. So when you get comfortable with that, yeah, then it's better because you know lines, you're comfortable with coming into the greens, you know that. You just got to set the whole other things out off to the side. That's a good question.
That's a good question. Why does Murray Valley play so tough? What won it last year, Coop? 3 under par? 3? Benzel should know. You shot it.
The guy's right here.
3 under par won it last year. I mean, these are 160 of the best players in the Pacific Northwest. Murray Valley is 6,700 yards from the tips. It's not like it's an 8,000-yard behemoth like some of the major championship courses are. So why does this place play so different?
Easy to make mistakes. That's what I would say. Miss at the wrong spot and bogeys in play like that, doubles in play.
I think the way these greens are formed, they all fold in. And so if you go pin high, right or left, and you're off the green, you're actually chipping to a downslope. And so these up and downs from around the green, especially when they're firm like they have been, they get kind of tricky. So now you know that. So you know if they're firm, you got to play way short of the pin to make sure you bounce it up to it. And then it makes it hard to get it real close to make a birdie. So now you're playing the middle of the greens, having 20-footers all day, and hope that you make a couple of those.
And I just told him how to play it. That's how I play it. Get into the middle of the green.
That's why I play stop.
You believe it?
Yeah.
Which holes do you guys find most challenging out there?
Griff?
5, number 5's not easy. 15's very difficult. Meridian Valley decided to add about 50 yards of that tee, or 45 yards of that tee a while back, and just made it even tougher. But I think Ben's hit on it pretty well. When this place gets firm, it's very tough to play because, and Brian hit on it too. Anything pin high or over the green, you're dead, right? So I think the key to playing this place is a second shot golf course and making sure you're always below the hole. Even if you're off the green, but below the hole, you have a chance. Anything you miss pin high, right or left or long, good luck. You're going to have to make a 6 or 8 or 10 footer for par, and you start doing that 4, 5, 6 times around, you're not going to play well, right? And for me, fortunately, playing with Manly the first 2 days, I saw how not to play the golf course. I figured that out quickly, and then on Wednesday I played nice. And so he taught me something.
I've been stabbing Griff for that for a few years, so he probably got me
Yeah,
back.
no, definitely a second shot golf course. Obviously you got to drive it well, but I think you can hit it in spots that you can get away with it. And I think the key is leaving everything short. Even on the approaches, even in some front bunkers, you're going to have a chance to get the ball up and down. Long's dead.
The other aspect of this golf course is, you could probably count, I'm going to guess, half of the golf holes have elevated greens. And so when they get really firm, trying to get the ball to stop on an elevated green can be difficult at times. Under conditions that we've played in the last couple of years, if you're not driving it in the fairway and you're in the rough, now the ball doesn't spin as easily. And so now you're playing to an uphill elevated green that if you land short may or may not jump onto the green. So you got to fly it on top, but it's not going to spin, it's not going to stop, so it may go over the green and get to the back. And everything gets challenging once in a while when the conditions are right. So yeah, it's a tricky little golf course.
Brian, how does Washington, you have many choices in the Northwest of different courses, different tournaments. How does the Washington Open rank in terms of the guys who come here? Do they see this as the premium event to win in this area?
Well, yeah, all of our majors, I think, are pretty large. This was big. I think it's actually added to this exact Rules of Honor Pro-Am that makes it, I think, just even a little bit better now. It kind of adds to it, I think, to be honest with you. But I don't know, you can talk to me, the other guys, I feel like that all the majors are pretty important. You win any of them, just like on the tour, if you win any of them, you might say the Masters might be at a little higher level. I think this one is right up there right now. This venue, I love this one. Not that I'm a homer a little bit, but I think you go around the entire state and you'd say this stacks up as a championship golf course with any of them, even though it doesn't have the length. All the other reasons we just stated, I think it's a pretty big deal. I'd put this up there, yeah. That's my opinion. I feel like it's right on top. Are you speaking also just on pure competitive players or the venue?
I'm speaking when everybody shows up here, they want to win this one as much as any of the regional tournaments like Oregon Open or some of the other.
You know, there's only one other event in our section that will have the amount of fan support, people watching, and Rosar's over there in Spokane and Indian Canyon. That's kind of up there. But I don't know. I don't think there's many people that will be hanging out right here on our ninth hole, which is 18 in the tournament. You know, as a backdrop, right? I mean, we might get 100-ish hanging out watching. So that, and that hole's a fun hole. Well, I don't like very much, but coming into that green, it could be a great, I don't know, just, you know.
Should start hitting 3 iron now.
Yeah, I know. Good.
The culture of the club, though, hosting the LPGA Tour for 19 years, even though a lot of those members are still here, that culture still exists. And so the support from the membership is what you're talking to. It's important for the magnitude of the event, for sure.
Well, that's how this whole thing really got going, right? Besides the team, of course, with their support, but without the club support, this wouldn't happen either. So.
But I was always taken back by that, simply is that I couldn't believe that a group of members essentially give up their golf course for a week, and then they're all here too, giving money back to the cause. I mean, it's like, it's pretty admirable. Not a lot of club or memberships, private facilities would do that.
Plus, they get a lot of them volunteering their time.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the
They're
program.
volunteer for the event.
They're all in.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Yep.
So you guys talked about the tough spots. Are there spots out there where you know, hey, I can use this hole to make a move?
Not for me, these guys. I'm playing defense out there.
One thing Benzel said, if you hit your drive in the fairway on the par 5s, you can kind of attack some of the par 5s out here. So you can make birdies or eagles there.
Yeah, I would agree. Par 5s are all, I guess, I wouldn't say they're short, but 3 of the 4 play downhill. So that helps you. That helps a lot of players get up and around the green in most like in 2 shots. And then if you're up and around the greens in 2 shots, you're going to have a reasonable opportunity to make up some shots. And everybody's going to make birdies on par 4s here and there. It's kind of, you got to play the hard holes well and manage your way around the golf course and not make too many mistakes, but the par 5s give you chances.
Jeff, the tournament used to rotate around quite a bit.
Right.
20 years ago. It used to fluctuate from place to place. Having it here, I don't know, what is this, 9th year in a row, 8th year in a row, something like that, 7th year in a row? Has that helped establish an identity a little bit more, create a little bit more of anticipation? I mean, a lot of big tournaments that stay in one place are able to do that, it seems.
Yeah, I think so. I think it solidifies the financial support. It solidifies the charity, the Folds relationship. You know, a lot of that's Jason and what Muckleshoe does for us. But all our sponsors, Chris, at least half the sponsors are members of the club, and it's great to have that identity. And when you couple that with a first-class golf course, you know, that's always in great shape. It's an absolute home run for us. With other events that rotate, it's kind of nice to have 1 or 2 that stay put. Gives us a little variety for our players as well.
Any more questions for our panel? Somebody's got to ask Aaron a question, don't they? Crabtree, you got to have something for Aaron. Ask him about his slice.
Worst hole experience ever out here, Aaron.
Big and
You
big.
know it. You know it, 'cause I was playing with him. I took 3 shots on number 11, took 11 on 11.
That was with us.
That was a
you
couple
guys.
years
Could have thrown a towel around. That's the advantage of coming back to the same place. You're going to remember those things. Sorry, Costa made an 11 on the 4-1 here. Makes me feel better.
Like I said when we started, this is a super important event today for both of our pro-am championship as well, for the PGA, for Meridian Valley Country Club, and what our sponsors like Jason do for us. And I know, Sean, I think I've been on your show before talking about this event, and thank you for that support. And everybody that's going to write an article or put something on TV, and Aaron, obviously, you're a huge part of what we do, and we appreciate that support. But it gets the word out, certainly about the Folds, which is the reason we're all here today, really. I mean, we have 5 section majors. This is the only media day we do.
It is.
For those 5 majors, so that alone makes it its stature. But we do it because of the pro-am. We do it because the city of Kent's here, and Hemblers, and Cisco, and Jason and Muckleshoot, and all those sponsors. And we wouldn't do this event without all those people. So that's why we're here today. You're going to see a golf course that's in almost perfect shape. Brian, don't you think? It's going to be a little firmer before the Washington Open, if I had to guess, just based on the weather forecast. We're, 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away. This place is getting championship ready right now, and if you're going to go play, I hope you enjoy it. Keep it out of the rough, because all the things these guys talked about, you'll see firsthand how it affects play.
He's letting it grow a little bit.
It's up a little bit. I think it's growing faster than we can mow it right now. It's that time of year, but certainly, yeah. So anybody else have any more questions for us? I did want to mention one more thing. In additional support of the Folds of Honor, the Northwest Open, which is one of our section majors, held at Wine Valley over in Walla Walla. We'll get a pro-am this year that Chris Manley will run in support of the Folds of Honor again. So we just keep upping our support from the section standpoint of this charity. Hopefully that spells out how important it is to us, to all of you. But Folds of Honor is near and dear to all of our hearts. And so thank you so much for your time for being here. Molly Cooper's going to set up the groupings for golf. Lunch will be served here shortly. And again, we super appreciate your time, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you all.
And thank you, obviously.